Welcome to the Expensive Coins History channel. Today another deep dive into the fascinating world of coins, collecting, and hidden treasures that may be sitting right in your pocket or tucked away in an old drawer. We unravel the intriguing story of a humble yet surprisingly sought-after coin, the 1971 no-mint Mark 10 Pfennig from Germany. At first glance, it may look like any other ordinary coin from the era of the Deutsche Mark, but this small brass-colored coin holds a mystery that has sparked curiosity, debates, and value discussions among numismatists for decades. Why does this coin have no mint mark? How rare is it really? And what could it be worth today, in 2025, if you're a coin collector, a treasure hunter, or simply someone fascinated by rare finds? You'll want to stick around for this full-length exploration. Let's dive deep into its origins, its hidden anomaly, and what makes this coin stand out in today's market. Let's begin with the foundation, the origin and design of the 10 Pfennig coin itself. The 10 Pfennig was a small denomination coin used in the Federal Republic of Germany, or West Germany as it was known at the time. This denomination was introduced as part of the post-war monetary reform, and it became one of the most widely circulated coins in German daily life. The coin was made of brass-clad steel, giving it a warm, golden appearance. On the obverse, it featured a simple yet effective design, the numeral 10 prominently in the center, surrounded by a pair of stylized wheat ears curving upward. The reverse side displayed the national name, Bundesrepublik Deutschland, along with the date of minting, and, normally, a small mint mark indicating which of Germany's 5 mints had struck that particular coin. This mint mark, a single capital letter, was an essential part of West German coinage. A for Berlin, D for Munich, F for Stuttgart, G for Karlsruhe, and J for Hamburg. Every circulating coin, regardless of denomination, carried one of these marks. That's what made the 1971 10 Pfennig coin with no mint mark at all such an anomaly. Now comes the mystery. A small but noteworthy number of 10 Pfennig coins from 1971 began turning up over the years, bearing all the expected features except for one: the mint mark was missing. It wasn't faded or lightly struck. It simply wasn't there. Just a clean gap where a letter should have been. This discovery sent ripples through the numismatic community. While mint errors were not unheard of, especially in modern coinage, a complete absence of a mint mark on a denomination that always carried one was unusual. The most likely explanation points to a minting error, perhaps a worn die, a misaligned punch, or a production oversight in one of the minting facilities. It could be that a die was mistakenly installed without the engraved mint mark, or a die with the mint letter worn completely off was allowed to continue in use. Regardless of the precise technical reason, what matters to collectors is this: the result is a variety of the 10 Pfennig coin that breaks the norm. It stands apart from millions of other identical coins minted in the same year. That's the million-euro question, and the answer isn't crystal clear. Unlike ancient or early modern coins are usually produced with high precision and recorded in detail. However, when it comes to errors or varieties caused by minting mishaps, no official numbers are usually published. That means the rarity of the 1971 no-mint Mark 10 Pfennig coin is based largely on observed population, how often it surfaces in collections, how many examples are reported in auctions, and how frequently collectors mention it. Anecdotally, these coins are very scarce, especially in well-preserved condition. Most known examples are found in circulated grades, meaning they were likely not intercepted at the mint but released into general usage, only to be noticed years later. The fact that the coin was allowed to circulate without being flagged suggests that the error was not caught at the time, lending credence to the theory of a quiet die or punch issue during minting. Collectors of German coinage are well aware of the regularity and discipline of post-war minting standards, so any deviation like this draws strong attention. While it's not in the realm of ultra-rare or one-of-a-kind coins, it certainly belongs to a category of error coins that spark consistent interest and generate value due to their non-standard features. As with all coins, the condition, or grade, makes a massive difference in value. A worn coin that spent decades in circulation will fetch far less than one that was set aside early on and preserved with minimal contact. For the 1971 no-mint Mark 10 Pfennig, most discovered pieces appear in circulated condition, often showing signs of moderate to heavy wear, surface dulling, or small scratches. In these cases, while the mint mark anomaly is still visible and valuable, the coin might only achieve a modest premium over face value or typical collector's value. However, coins in higher grades, such as extremely fine, about uncirculated, or especially mint state, can be significantly more desirable. A mint state example with full luster and minimal blemishes is considered a prize, particularly if the absence of the mint mark is clear and unmistakable. Graded and authenticated coins from reputable grading services, especially those that recognize mint mark errors, can enhance the legitimacy and market value of such a piece. That's why collectors aiming to sell or preserve one of these coins are encouraged to consider third-party grading if the coin appears to be in high condition. Let's talk real numbers. The typical 1971 10 pfennig coin with a normal mint mark in average circulated condition is worth little more than its face value, perhaps a few cents or a small collectible value if grouped in a set. However, once the mint mark is missing, the equation changes. In lower grades, the coin might sell for 10 to 20 euros, primarily driven by its curiosity factor and appeal to error collectors. These are cases where the coin has seen use but still clearly shows the missing mint mark. In mid-grade examples, values can range from 30 to 70 euros, depending on visual appeal, sharpness of detail, and the clarity of the error. Coins that show light wear but still retain much of their original color and detail fall into this category. High-grade, uncirculated specimens with clear surfaces, strong edges, and minimal to no handling marks are in an entirely different league. These can bring 100 to 200 euros or more, especially when graded by a professional service and labeled correctly as a mint error. Exceptionally pristine examples with full strike and vibrant luster, particularly those featured in auctions or collector showcases, have been known to draw even higher bids. While not common, prices in the range of 250 to 300 euros have been reported under the right conditions, with the right buyer, the right story, and the right level of interest. The 1971 no mint mark 10 pfennig is not just an error coin, it's a conversation piece, a challenge to expectations, and a reminder that even the most carefully managed minting systems can produce unexpected outcomes. Collectors of German coins, error coin enthusiasts, and those who focus on the Deutsche Mark era find this coin to be a must-have piece, especially if they are assembling complete year sets or anomaly collections. As interest in European pre-Euro coinage continues to grow, and as more collectors seek out coins that tell a story, demand for authentic error coins like this one is expected to remain steady. It's also a great entry point for new collectors, an affordable yet meaningful error variety that encourages research, exploration, and dialogue within the coin community. So there you have it, the full story of the 1971 no mint mark 10 pfennig coin. A tiny piece of metal, but with a big tale to tell. From its mysterious minting error to its quietly rising value in 2025, this coin stands as a symbol of how the smallest details can make the biggest difference. We peel back the curtain on one such piece of currency. A coin so small, so seemingly insignificant, and yet in rare cases, unbelievably valuable. This is the extraordinary story of the 1983 Germany 1 pfennig coin with no mint mark, an anomaly, a rarity, and for some, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The 1 pfennig coin was the smallest denomination in the Deutsche Mark system, representing just a fraction of a full mark. Despite its tiny monetary value, it was everywhere. In bus fares, vending machines, post offices, and tucked away in kitchen jars across West Germany, minted in vast quantities throughout the decades, these coins were generally uniform, predictable, and standardized. Most were struck in copper-plated steel, marked with the distinctive oak leaf sprig, and bore the Bundesrepublik Deutschland inscription, signifying its official status under the Federal Republic of Germany, and always, they carried a mint mark. A single letter indicating where the coin was struck. A for Berlin. D for Munich. F for Stuttgart. G for Karlsruhe. J for Hamburg, except, when one didn't, West Germany. A year like any other for the national mints. Machines operated with military precision, pressing millions of coins into existence. Yet something happened that year, something subtle, silent, and unnoticed by most. A tiny number of 1 pfennig coins from that year were released into circulation without any mint mark. No no D, no F, G, or J. Just a blank space where a letter should have been. To the untrained eye, they looked like ordinary coins. But to collectors and those with keen attention to detail, these were errors, unexplained, unintentional, and profoundly rare. No public records, no official announcements, no explanations, only coins. Physical evidence that somewhere in the minting process, something deviated from the norm. In the world of coin collecting, value is rarely about face value. It's about scarcity, condition, mystery, historical significance. A common coin might be worth only a few cents, or nothing at all to collectors. But a rare variation? An error piece? An unmarked mystery that can change everything. Rarity is the cornerstone of numismatics. And when rarity meets anomaly, especially in something as mass-produced as a 1 pfennig coin, you have the ingredients for a treasure. Imagine it. Among the billions of 1 pfennig coins struck over the years, only a handful from 1983 lack a mint mark. How many still exist? That is unknown. Perhaps a few hundred. Maybe fewer. Many may have been lost, discarded, or melted down during the currency transition. Which means, every surviving example becomes not just a coin, but a historic artifact. There are stories, whispers, really, of collectors stumbling upon these coins by chance. Discovered in old jars. In inherited collections. In flea markets and forgotten wallets. And in those moments, the owners have no idea what they're holding. Just another coin from decades ago. Tarnished. Overlooked. Then comes the realization. The date, 1983. The front and back, perfectly normal. But the mint mark? Missing. Those who recognize what they've found, know to act quickly. Authentication, grading, and eventual valuation follow. From a dusty drawer to a velvet-lined auction house, and while no two sales are exactly the same, one thing is consistent: the shock that a 1 pfennig coin, barely worth a cent, can sell for hundreds, even thousands of euros. Now in 2025, with numismatics enjoying a renaissance among younger collectors and online auction platforms expanding global reach, the 1983 no-mint mark pfennig has become more desirable than ever before, while ordinary 1 pfennig coins from the same year can be purchased for a few cents, or maybe a euro in brilliant condition. This no-mint mark version lives in an entirely different league. If lightly circulated, it might command between €300 to €600 depending on clarity and wear. In better condition, uncirculated, sharp relief, unblemished surfaces, it can climb to €1,000 or more. And for truly exceptional examples? The sky's the limit. In some cases, collectors are willing to pay upwards of €1,500 to €2,000, purely for the chance to own this peculiar, precious anomaly. And the demand? It is not slowing. Quite the opposite. As more collectors seek key rarities to complete their pfennig sets, the pressure builds. Yet the supply remains fixed, maybe even shrinking, since every year, another may be lost, damaged, or discarded forever. If you believe you have found one of these rare coins, the first step is to examine it carefully. Does the date read 1983? Is the mint mark truly missing, or merely worn down? Flip the coin under strong light, tilt it, observe its texture. Genuine no-mint mark coins will show no trace of any mint letter. The space beneath the oak sprig and the date will be blank, not smoothed out or faded, but clean and untouched, as if the letter was never there to begin with. From there, grading becomes essential. The value of the coin depends heavily on its condition. Coins are graded on scales, from good to fine to extremely fine to mint state. The higher the grade, the higher the potential return. Professional grading services can encapsulate the coin, verify its authenticity, and assign it a market-accepted rating. This is a step that not only protects your coin, but opens doors to serious collectors and reputable auction houses. So why does this matter? Why does a 1 pfennig coin, forgotten by most, spark such intrigue today? Because it's more than money. It's a piece of history. A fragment of the Cold War era. A link to a nation that no longer uses the currency it once minted. The 1983 no-mint mark Germany 1 Pfennig coin reminds us that mistakes, even silent, tiny ones, can echo through time. It invites curiosity. It rewards attention to detail. And above all, it proves that even the smallest things can hold immense value, when rarity, history, and mystery collide. So the next time you find an old jar of coins tucked away in a drawer, don't rush to dismiss them. Look closely. You might be holding more than you think, and who knows? You might just uncover one of the rarest small coins Germany ever produced. We uncover the story of a seemingly ordinary Canadian nickel that's been quietly gaining the attention of collectors for decades, the 1978 no-mint mark Queen Elizabeth II 5-cent coin. At first glance, this coin may appear to be just another 5-cent piece, tucked away in a forgotten drawer or sitting at the bottom of a coin jar. But upon closer inspection, it holds a story of intrigue, subtle rarity, and numismatic value that continues to evolve, especially in today's collector market. Struck in the year 1978, this 5-cent coin features the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, a regal profile that had by then become a symbol of consistency across Canadian coinage. Designed with great detail and respect, this effigy would accompany Canadians through the years as a quiet but ever-present witness to the country's journey. On the reverse, we find another staple of Canadian currency, the beaver, sitting atop a log, symbolizing industriousness and the deep connection between Canada's people and its natural environment. However, what separates this particular coin from its countless counterparts minted throughout the 1970s is what it doesn't have: a mint mark. Typically, coins struck by the Royal Canadian Mint include a small identifier, a mint mark, indicating where the coin was produced. Over the years, coins have been struck in facilities across Canada, including Ottawa and Winnipeg, with many modern examples bearing a P or other marks to denote specific variations. But in 1978, a number of 5-cent coins left the mint without any such identifying mark, an omission that has intrigued collectors for decades. This absence was not widely publicized or initially understood, but as coin collectors began to study patterns in Canadian coinage, the no-mint mark variety emerged as a subject of growing interest. What caused the omission? Was it a minting error, a transitional design issue, or simply a matter of production efficiency? While the exact reasons remain shrouded in uncertainty, one thing is clear: the 1978 no-mint mark 5-cent coin is a recognized and sought-after variant. Coins become rare not simply because of age, but because of availability, condition, demand, and distinction. The 1978 no-mint mark 5-cent coin ticks several of these boxes. It is not an error coin in the traditional sense. It wasn't double-struck, misaligned, or minted on the wrong planchet. But its subtle difference, a missing mark, elevates its status among seasoned collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. Rarity, in this case, lies in visibility. Many of these coins are sitting unnoticed in collections, mistaken for regular nickels. Others have long since faded from circulation. And unlike silver or gold coins, this nickel-based issue was not hoarded for its metal content, meaning that far fewer pristine examples exist today. The combination of relative obscurity and a dedicated collector base creates a situation where demand can sometimes outpace supply. The value of any coin depends heavily on its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with professional grading services using numerical scales to identify a coin's level of preservation. For the 1978 no-mint mark 5-cent coin, this factor plays a crucial role in determining market value. Circulated coins, those that have passed from hand to hand, picked up nicks, scratches, and wear, may still be collectible, but they generally command lower prices. In contrast, uncirculated examples, especially those graded MS 60 and above, are significantly more desirable. Coins in mint state condition with full detail, original luster, and minimal marks can fetch exponentially higher prices, particularly when accompanied by official certification. These certified coins are encapsulated in tamper-proof holders, often bearing a serial number and the grader's assessment. In today's market, collectors are more confident buying coins that have been graded and authenticated, which often translates into stronger resale values. In 2025, interest in vintage Canadian coinage continues to grow, particularly coins tied to the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. Following her passing, collectors worldwide have turned to memorialize her legacy through tangible history, her image on coinage being one of the most widely recognized symbols. The 1978 no-mint Mark 5-cent coin has benefited from this renewed interest. In lower circulated grades, these coins may command modest premiums, ranging from a few dollars to perhaps 15 or 20, depending on clarity and demand. In higher grades, the story is quite different. Certified mint state examples, particularly those in MS 65 or better, have been known to sell for 50, 100, or even more, especially when listed in collector-specific auctions or showcased in premium collections. While these values fluctuate with collector demand and broader economic conditions, the overall trend in 2025 points upward. Coins that once went unnoticed are now being actively sought after. This shift, combined with the limited number of known high-grade examples, is contributing to a slow but steady rise in valuation. For those considering collecting or investing in the 1978 no-mint Mark Canadian nickel, here are a few essential tips. First, examine your coins carefully. Many collectors have found valuable varieties hiding in plain sight. A good magnifying glass and attention to detail can go a long way. Second, consider grading your best examples. A certified coin carries more weight in the marketplace, and even a small investment in grading can return strong dividends if the coin is in superior condition. Third, pay attention to trends. The coin market, like any other, goes through cycles. While 2025 is currently a strong year for Canadian coinage, staying informed about upcoming auctions, estate sales, and market shifts can help you make wise decisions. And lastly, enjoy the process. Coins like this aren't just about value, they're about history. Every scratch tells a story, every design a reflection of a time and place. The 1978 no-mint Mark 5-cent coin isn't just rare, it's a conversation piece, a slice of national heritage, and a small metallic thread woven into the fabric of Canada's identity. In the world of numismatics, not all treasures come gilded in gold or shimmering in silver. Some lie quietly in the copper-nickel tones of a humble 5-cent piece, waiting to be discovered, appreciated, and preserved. The 1978 no-mint Mark Queen Elizabeth II Canadian nickel is one such coin. A subtle anomaly. A quiet rarity. A growing gem in the eyes of those who understand its value, not just in currency, but in culture and history. As we look ahead, its place in collections across Canada and beyond seems all but certain. Whether you're a seasoned collector, a curious hobbyist, or someone who just stumbled upon an unusual coin in their pocket change, this is a coin worth your attention. The 1979 Canadian 5 cents coin with no mint mark, featuring Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. This is not a typical coin. It's one that blends history, subtlety, and value in a way that makes it particularly compelling for both casual collectors and serious numismatists alike. From its roots in the Canadian minting tradition to its present-day appeal and potential in the 2025 collector's market, this is a coin with a hidden story. And in today's video, we're going to unpack that story in full. So if you've ever wondered whether a small, seemingly ordinary nickel could be worth more than face value, you might be about to find out. Before we talk about the 1979 issue specifically, let's take a moment to appreciate the place of the 5-cent coin in Canadian monetary history. The Canadian 5-cent piece, often called the nickel, has long held a consistent place in the nation's coinage. Its design history includes iconic imagery, from early versions featuring beavers to later ones showing caribou. In 1979, Canada was using a design that had been introduced decades earlier, the caribou reverse, coupled with the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. These coins were composed of nickel metal, which gave them a sturdy, silvery appearance and a distinctive weight and feel. The obverse portrait of Queen Elizabeth II used in 1979 was the second major portrait of her used on Canadian coins. It depicted the Queen in her younger years, without crown, and was the standard depiction used from 1965 through 1989. In 1979, Canadian coin production was handled primarily by the Royal Canadian Mint, with production facilities operating in Ottawa and Winnipeg. Typically, coins were not marked with specific mint marks, especially for regular circulation issues. However, the coin we're examining today, the 1979 5-cent coin without a mint mark, has drawn attention not because it lacks a mint mark in the traditional sense, but because it seems to exhibit small anomalies in distribution that suggest something may have been different in how certain coins were struck or released. The vast majority of 1979 5-cent pieces were produced in large quantities and entered circulation normally. But there is a subtle subgroup of these coins that lacks any visible identifying characteristics that would indicate it was struck in one location over another. More importantly, some collectors and hobbyists believe that a specific run of coins minted that year exhibits differences in finish, strike sharpness, and absence of any distinguishing mint features. The key here is that while most 1979 5-cent coins are relatively common, a small portion is being labeled and sold as no mint mark versions. Whether these are truly errors, varieties, or simply unusual production runs remains part of the mystery that drives collector interest. Now let's talk rarity, because in the world of coin collecting, scarcity is everything. Officially, there is no separate listing for a 1979 Canadian 5-cent coin without a mint mark because most coins from that era didn't carry one. However, in practical terms, the no mint mark label applied to these coins by collectors often refers to a subtle difference in the strike or die that sets it apart from the general population. It's not a rarity in the sense of a confirmed mint error or a government-acknowledged variety. But it is a rarity in the eyes of collectors who have searched thousands of 5-cent coins and found only a few examples that match the specific characteristics they look for: no visible mint indicators, unusual strike details, or potential die polishing evidence. Some coin roll hunters report discovering only one or two examples out of boxes containing hundreds or even thousands of nickels. Others have spent years searching and never found one that meets the criteria. That level of scarcity, real or perceived, is what adds value. Why do collectors care about this coin? What is it about the 1979 no mint mark 5-cent piece that draws attention? There are a few reasons. First, it's the puzzle element. Collectors love mysteries, coins that don't quite fit the mold. The possibility that there's an undocumented variety or unrecognized error makes this coin especially appealing. Second, it's about accessibility. Unlike coins that cost hundreds or thousands of dollars, this one can still occasionally be found in circulation or purchased for modest amounts. It provides the excitement of the hunt without requiring a massive investment. And third, it's about history. Any coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II carries a sense of historical continuity. With her passing, interest in coins bearing her likeness has surged. Collectors worldwide are looking back at her coinage legacy, especially in Commonwealth nations like Canada. That has made even minor varieties or unusual pieces more desirable in recent years. So here's the big question: how much is the 1979 no mint mark 5-cent coin worth in 2025? The answer depends heavily on condition, collector demand, and how the coin is marketed. In circulated condition, a typical 1979 5-cent coin is still worth face value, 5 cents. However, if it meets the criteria collectors use for the no mint mark variant, clean surfaces, specific die characteristics, and no obvious damage, it may be worth between $2 and $5 Canadian dollars, simply due to its perceived rarity. In uncirculated or mint state condition, where the coin shows no wear and has strong luster, the value may increase significantly. Coins in MS-63 to MS-65 range could fetch $10 to $25, especially when sold through collector forums, auction platforms, or specialty dealers. If a coin is graded by a professional service and labeled with a variety designation, the price can rise even more. A top-tier example with recognized die characteristics and certification could potentially bring $30 to $50, depending on buyer interest at the time. While it may not be a fortune maker, this coin has moved beyond its 5-cent face value. And for collectors, that's often enough. As we look forward, the long-term future of the 1979 no mint mark 5-cent coin lies in how the collecting community evolves. Interest in Canadian coins has been growing, especially from international buyers. Coins from the 20th century are now being viewed through a historical lens, and minor varieties like this are increasingly getting attention. The 1979 coin also sits at an interesting place in history. It belongs to a pre-modern minting era but remains recent enough to be accessible. If future research by collectors or institutions uncovers definitive differences in dies or minting processes, we may see this coin reclassified officially as a variety. That would raise its profile, and its price that in short, this is a coin to watch. It may not be rare in the traditional sense, but it occupies a unique space in Canadian numismatics, available, overlooked, and full of potential. The 1979 no-mint mark Queen Elizabeth II Canadian 5-cent coin is a fascinating case of subtlety in the world of numismatics. It's a coin that might slip through the fingers of someone unaware, but to the trained eye, it hints at something more, a quiet mystery, a whisper of rarity, a numismatic footnote waiting to be written. If you're a collector, it's worth taking a closer look at any 1,979 nickels in your possession. Examine the surface, check the fields, and pay attention to the strike. What you find may surprise you. Thanks for joining me today. If you found this content helpful or interesting, consider subscribing to the channel and sharing it with fellow collectors. Drop a comment below. Have you come across a 1979 5-cent coin with no mint mark? What was your experience? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy collecting, and may your change always have a story.